Alright, looks like we're doing another Fix-It video. This time we're going to do the same game, Mega Man X3, as we did in the last Fix-It video, but we're going to take a different character, Toxic Seahorse. I thought, seeing as I've chosen to undertake this endeavour of studying animation video games, thought I'd use my animation knowledge to see if I can bring the level of polish in Mega Man X3 up a little bit to match the previous two games in the series. Before we get into that though, I just want to quickly talk about my Patreon page and what you can expect to receive there as rewards if you decide to fund and support my work. I do lots of posts that kind of cover my other endeavours as well as video game animation, such as my actual animation work, animation tutorials, behind the scenes, sort of general blogs and things I'm up to. Also, I'm writing a book on video game animation, so I'll post updates on my Patreon page there as well. So if you want to support my work, help me make these videos even better, definitely pop over to Patreon. You also get the chance to help me make videos. You get to decide what sort of topics we talk about, so you can help influence the evolution of this channel. We can kind of work on it together, all for $1. I mean, I have two tiers actually, $1 and $3. Both the same, except $3 you get videos a little bit early. But everyone gets name in the credits and you all get access to all my work. So, cool. All right, let's get to it. Last episode, I fixed Crushed Crawfish by mostly just rearranging and reusing frames that already existed. My own attempt was a bit dawdly and didn't really work. So I think in future, if I run out of time to do something to the fullest I can, I'll just leave it or come back to it later. Anyway, let's tackle Toxic Seahorse, the second of 3 aquatic villains that aren't for underwater. Just want to say I love Toxic Seahorse. As a character design, I think it's really unique and interesting, and I think it's great how they've managed to personify such an awkward type of creature, and yeah, it's just awesome. Before I go into sort of like picking it apart, I love Toxic Seahorse. Like last time, I'll first suggest changes to the animations based purely on what exists already, and then I'll offer some more fundamental changes that could have been interesting to see for the boss. Seahorse has the same issue that most other Mavericks have in this game, in that for his entrance to the arena, he just descends from the ceiling as though he is being brought down by an invisible lift. Though where Crawfish was in a standing position, which really exacerbated the idea, Seahorse is at least in a falling stance, with his legs pointing down. The same problem persists, that it's a fairly slow, linear motion, and it doesn't feel like he's falling. I mean, even the NES Mega Man games got that right with Robot Master entrances. As with Crawfish, an easy fix to this will be to increase the momentum from the start to the finish, getting quicker the closer to the ground he gets. He actually has a landing animation where he dips down, which does make him feel heavy to some extent. Do you know what I think would be really cool though? What I like about the Mega Man X series of games is that all the Mavericks have a unique entrance into the room that doesn't always involve just kind of dropping down from the top right corner of the screen. Some of them have really unique ways of coming into the room, and Toxic Seahorse kind of has a unique exit from the room with this melting animation. And I think that could be a really good, just played in reverse, as it does when he kind of reforms, that could be a great way to have him enter the room. This animation itself is great, and just look how good that would look as an entrance to the arena. Okay, so next is that energy summoning action that all Mega Man bosses do, and like every other Maverick in this game, it's either weird, boring, or broken. This little undulating motion is fine, but what are these little frames that pop out of nowhere? It's just too fast overall. These frames do a thing called popping, where the flow between them is really jarring and doesn't quite link together properly, and it produces this unsightly pop and doesn't look nice. What you want is a few more frames of motion here to smooth this out a little, even just to make it more visually coherent. This is what I've done, reusing a couple of other existing frames just to put either side so that it at least smooths it out somewhat, though I don't think it's that noticeable in the end. Okay, so the intro has been amended, and sometimes just nailing that can kind of set the vibe for the whole battle and just kind of like increase the appeal just a little bit. I want to look at the jump next. The thing I find with the jump and the landing is that the way it currently is, it doesn't leave much room for a follow-up action. This falling action is already with the feet up, so landing is going to look weird. Ideally you'd want to stick the legs out again to anticipate the landing, and then crouch into that follow-through motion to give it a sense of weight. Of course, it's not always possible to achieve this level of detail, particularly back here on the SNES, but I'm sure it wasn't impossible. I do like that there are phases of jumping, such as Seahorse lifting their legs up at the peak of the jump. I guess the legs being up does allow a smooth transition into a landing pose already. The landing switches to this kind of crouch pose. I guess that's all you can really do with the falling pose looking that way. But I do enjoy that there's a landing pose at all. So I like the anticipation here, but I added the landing pose here as well as that slight crouch, just so it's extra readable and exaggerated. At the peak, I added in another frame from the idle pose to act as a slight smoothing to that transition from upwards jumping to falling. The landing I kept the same, I just added in that idle frame again to act as a slight transition to stop it looking quite so snappy. Ideally, the turn would show it happening, but an existing one doesn't exist, but it would look something a bit like this. Okay, so the intro and the jump are kind of covered. Not loads to work with, but I think Seahorse is already at a better base level of animation than Crushed Crawfish was. Next, it's one of 2 attacks. Now, admittedly, I think this attack looks fine. The posing is nice, the timing is appropriate for the attack to happen, it reads well, and there's appropriate time for you to react while Seahorse does their little waving motion, which is actually really appealing. I love the undulating motion, probably the only water-like thing about them. All I've added here is a little straining animation to show a bit of force. Now, I've cheated here. There isn't any other frame for this throwing action. I've had to add puppet pins just to make these bits here wiggle. So I've kind of broken my own rules a bit, but I think it just lifts this action a tiny bit more, and makes it a bit more impactful. The next action is almost a blink and you'll miss it one. It happens so fast, probably to make it a bit more of a challenge. The original had Seahorse snap back up to the anticipation pose, but I've added in one of the later frames here to give it a bit more time to build up. I've also held this position for a few frames longer, as well as hold on that shooting pose a little longer, just so it breaks up the rhythm of the motion a bit. I also cheated here again by using puppet pins the way I did before. This wouldn't have been impossible for the time. It would likely have been a broken sprite with just the head and tail wiggling a bit. Alright, well, we're nearly there. All that's left to look at is the melting animation, and well, let's have a look. Honestly, no notes. This looks pretty slick. One thing I'm not 100% on is the glowing effect, which I don't think I've captured here as well as it is in the original, but it's fine. I think I wouldn't have the lines glow like that. I actually think it'd be great to have more actions that involve this melting animation, because I feel like it's a crucial part of the character design and attack system. The way they captured the form of Seahorse and seeing them melt into the floor is great, and the fact Seahorse kind of crouches to then melt is a nice touch as well. Well, that's kind of it for how much I would improve Toxic Seahorse's animations. Just a little bit of tinkering, but not much improvement. Again, like I said, I think the base level is kind of already a little bit higher than it was. But here's a couple of suggestions I have for some additional moves, which I think could be quite cool for Toxic Seahorse. I think it could be cool if they use their tail as an attack. It could be a move which covers the entire floor, and X has to jump to clear it. It could even do that thing where the segments of the tail come apart, a bit like Magma Centipede. I also think the melting idea could be used a bit more. I'm thinking maybe something like either of the devil boss fights from Mega Man 8 or Mega Man X5, where Seahorse can take on the form of something along the ground, like pop back up as spikes or something. What would you do to improve or add to Toxic Seahorse's animations? Let me know below. Have a look at all these awesome people who have funded my work through Patreon and have funded this video. And again, my Patreon page is there for you to support if you wish to. If you want to see more behind the scenes work, more work from me to do a video game animation, updates on my other work, my other YouTube channels, my animation, my book on game animation, and my general hobbies. I go roller skating, so I post videos of that sometimes. But yeah, other than that, have a good day, and I'll see you next time, and we'll do some more stuff. Yeah.